Oh, what's going on? How y'all doing? Hope you're doing pretty well in this trying time that we're in. Not allowed to say the C virus word, or else I guess the video gets flagged. I don't know. I don't get paid for these anyway. I'm just having fun out here. I came to give you all my review of Boku no Hero Academia, or also known in the States as My Hero Academia, the movie Heroes Rising. Apparently, this movie came out in December of last year, so just was this March, about 4 months ago. It was brought into theaters about 2 or 3 weeks ago here in the States, and offered in both subbed and dubbed. Unfortunately, I was unable to see the sub because it was earlier, and a buddy of mine he called me at the last minute and said, "Hey, you want to go see this movie?" Went ahead and watched the dub. I guess this is my review for it. This will be semi spoilery. I mean, it's an anime movie for a real good series. There's no way you haven't seen this movie already if you're a huge fan of it. I would recommend going to see it. I would also recommend, even you're not supposed to recommend people to watch things like pirated or on side sites. Go to Kiss Anime. I don't do the Crunchyroll thing. I have Hulu. I know Hulu doesn't have it. Hulu does have the entire series. And actually, what I'll do first, I'll tell you what I think of Boku no Hero as a whole. So I have not seen any of the fourth season. I know the stuff that happens in there because I peruse the manga from time to time. I was actually put on to this anime. Uh, this kid that I worked with, he told me, "Hey, why don't you watch this fight scene?" And I had watched the school festival, and I saw the fight between Todoroki and my boy Midoriya. Refused to call him Deku. I feel like that's a term of endearment that he has to give me permission to say, but I digress. I saw the fight between them, blown away, because as a Dragon Ball fan, we rarely get tournament arcs that finish. I think Dragon Ball Super is probably the only one that's actually had tournaments that actually started and finished outside of the first Dragon Ball when Goku was a kid and Krillin was a kid. So that's what made me watch it. And I watched. I have one more episode of season 3 to watch. I'm waiting for season 4 so I can just sit and watch that at my leisure. Because I hated when I was watching season 1 and season 2, just constantly waiting, being like, "Oh man, what's gonna happen?" I think the last anime I actually watched week to week was I think Neptunia had an anime which was loosely based on the games. I haven't played the games. I watch people play the games. Uh, I find the lore and the transformations of that series nice, but we talking about My Hero Academia, Boku no Hero. Um, Really good show. It's actually one of the few shows where, out of all these characters they're showing me, I'm still gravitating towards the main character. Like, I feel so much hope and optimism and the want to get stronger and to do more from Midoriya that absolutely my favorite character. I ship him with Uraka. Don't nobody come between that. I do like Bakugo, even though he's a bit of a jerk, but uh, I won't spoil anything in the season. He's an asshole. He stays an asshole, but he gets it. It lessens a bit. So I got one more episode of season 3. I was gonna watch that before this. I was actually gonna get a haircut before this, but I ain't worried about that. I actually really want to get this video out. Um, yeah, man, My Hero Academia. I have to say, like, it was also in my top ten anime. Um, this definitely takes the mantle of like the big three. Actually, there's three characters in this show that represent the represents the big three that was out when the manga was happening, which was One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. But when I think of big three, I think of like Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece. Bleach comes in there. Well, I feel bad for Bleach anime fans with anime said they're picking it right back up. But yeah, it's really, really, really good. So me coming into this movie, I wasn't expecting anything bad. I was coming in with an open head. Excuse me. I was coming in with an open head because I don't really listen to dubs. I tried to listen to. There's a scene in season one with All Might versus Nomu, and I watched that sub. Amazing. Christopher Sabat, the voice of Vegeta from Dragon Ball, he does All Might's voice, and I listened to his rendition of it. The voice work in English is not bad. It's just I feel that in Japanese you get so much more emotion from the VAs. What they call VOs over there, but from the VAs, especially Midoriya. In English, Midoriya is very whiny. That's a It's a really good American interpretation of the character, but I feel a lot of genuine emotion from him when I watch it in Japanese. So that's why I prefer to watch the subs instead of the dub. I gotta say, another thing that strikes me about the show, man, I'm very surprised that the main character is actually played by a male voice actor. Usually you get like the greats like Masako Nozawa, voice of Goku, also voice of Agumon from Digimon. Uh, the voice for Krillin in Japanese also plays the voice of Luffy in One Piece. So usually, VOs and VAs, they're headed by women. Like the women are killing it, man. But there are a few standout guys out there, and I was actually kind of surprised about that. Which it didn't add or take away anything. It's just something I had made note of. Um, so Heroes Rising, this movie is so self-contained. This is how you do movies. This The only movie I think beats this is Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and that's kind of a biased opinion. Not really, because that first of all, the art in Dragon Ball Super Broly, I'm gonna do a review for that. The art in that is amazing for a Dragon Ball movie. The plot makes sense and it continues on the anime story, so you're not missing out on anything. And looking at how Super has done things, either they're gonna adapt the movie into anime episodes before they keep going, or they're just gonna be like, hey, that movie happened, that movie's canon. So the thing about this movie I like is self-contained, but if you've seen season three, I haven't seen season four, but if you've seen season three, and if you've seen some of season four, some of the stuff that happens kind of spoils things. With the people's hair looking kind of super saiyan. It's you're not losing out. I think when I get to those episodes myself, I'm not gonna feel down because it was all over the internet. If I really really cared, I would have shut myself off, or I would have read the manga. The manga's been out for a while anyway, so I don't feel like you come into this movie and you see it, you're not gonna miss anything. If you're watching this movie, I'm assuming that you have seen at least a season of My Hero. You're gonna know these characters. You're gonna know your favorites. You're gonna know. It's kind of hard for me to even say the ones you don't like. The only character people wouldn't like is Mineta because he's pervy, but it's it's done to a degree where I've seen pervy characters, male and female, in anime. He is not the worst by far, and the fact that he actually has a mind behind that's probably why I don't really mind him too much. And My Hero Rising, thing that kind of I want to say surprises me. Some of the matchups when fighting towards the end, when they're choosing characters to fight who, I was kind of surprised about certain things that happened. But after I started catching up in the anime with season three, because this movie made me rush through the last 5 or 6 episodes that I didn't see. Not including the one episode I have left. Like that's how good this movie is. Uh, it starts off with the familiar villains, and it builds up to this group. I want to say this leader, it's Wolfman, it's the chick, there's the dumb guy. Am I missing anybody? Yeah, it leads up to this group of four that is loosely affiliated with the League of Villains, and there it's really wonderful how they had this group's um, intentions lead into leading to how they get into conflict with Class A, Class 1A from the Hero Academy. Like like the students are they're off on an island somewhere, getting doing work, learn how to be heroes, and they're actually by themselves, which is you know you see from a mile away. All know they're by themselves. They're on an island. You can only guess what happens from there. Uh, Trying to keep this very loose and lightly spoilery. Um, I guess the next thing I'll talk about is the villains. The villains, there's a guy whose quirk was pretty interesting where he can control if he uses his raps and he controls whatever he's wrapping up. He can use it to fight. Even if he controls a person, he can use that person's body to fight, but he cannot use their quirk. Um, he's kind of the weakest. Then there's the girl who, if you know anything about Marvel comics, you can instantly, if you know Marvel comics or if you play video games, you can be like, oh, that's Bayonetta or that's Medusa. She can make her hair turn into sharp edges and stuff like that. She's like the main guy's right hand. Then there's this dude whose power is Chimera. He is the fight with him. If it wasn't for the main villain fight, that would be the best fight. Like they could not touch him the first time they meet this guy because the best anime movies, you don't fight the bad guys once, you fight them at least twice. And if you don't fight them twice, that first time you meet them, you're fighting them for the rest of the movie. They fight these guys twice, and when they fought, when Todoroki and about four other people, there's like 12 of these kids. So not only are they helping the people on the island, and since they've been there a while, the people are they're very open to them. They're not like, except for these two kids, these obvious two kids. One of them's like, I don't trust Hero, blah 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 blah. But the people trust them. So while you have some people whose quirks are not 100% suited for fighting, they're helping, and they're trying to fight this Chimera guy, and you don't realize he's a Chimera until towards the end. Don't care if I spoiled that for you. Dude's amazing. Dude's freaking awesome. Then you have the main villain. So this guy's thing is that he has all for one. He had some stuff done to him from some character that I'm assuming that I'm going to meet soon in season 4. He has all for one's ability. You don't know who all for one is? Watch season 3. Which, he can take these quirks, right? And I think the max he can take, I want to say it's 6. I know we see 6 powers, but his original power is, I thought it was lightning. I think it's weather control. This man already has a strong ability. This man is Storm, but with the experiments he took, it made him weaker. And his whole thing, he's basically another Stain, right? He wants to change the world and make it the typical villain thing. You ever seen Resident Evil 5 with Wesker? Only the strongest will survive. There will be no rules. There's no wrong or right. Only might wins. It's it's kind of a cheap. I don't want to say it's cheap, but it's typical villain stuff. But the villain himself, like his design, I'm a sucker for purple. I love the color purple. Even though my favorite color is blue, but I love purples and greens and stuff like that. His design is so good to even when he takes that little mask off, he's still an interesting character. So this guy's going around looking for the perfect quirk to help him regenerate his cells, which turns out one of these two kids has their dad's ability, and he ends up somehow finding their dad by accident, getting his phone, but like, oh, okay, we're gonna go get these powers. So when he first shows up, Bakugo and my homie Midoriya, they were putting up a good fight, but they were basically dead until this kid's ability to heal, healed them up. And the movie had I don't want to say it had really good pacing actually. Only thing I didn't like was the beginning. The beginning was basically like the opening for the anime, where it's like, people have powers, quirks, this, blah blah blah. You know, was it all for one, blah 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 blah, and all the other good stuff. Um, really good pacing though for the movie. Um, Outside of like two of the two of the four people in that main villain group, really decent villains. I would still give if I'm doing my 5-star rating system, I would still give the villains. I'll give them a 4 still, 4 out of 5 because the leader and then that secondary guy. And one of the things that they do so well in this movie is they do flashbacks of how he recruited these guys to join his cause and to join with him. It's fairly interesting. It's really good. Um, and when I say it's really good, I mean it didn't really break the immersion because they do it in a time when things are slowing down. Obviously the bad guy can't control his own powers. He's getting hurt, so they gotta retreat for a while. The kids get enough time to gather themselves up, and this proves if you want to compare these kids to anybody, you can definitely compare Midoriya to like a Captain America type of character, where he's coming up with plans. The fact that he studied so long and he came up with all these plans is just amazing. Sorry about that break. Had to take care of something. Anyway, um, the pacing's really good. Like you're able to see flashbacks. You're able to see side stuff where what's the guy who scratches his neck, the main leader for the League of Villains. That guy, you can see that guy just take his time. He has a small role, but it's a significant one. Um, and just the culminating fight because they catch one of these guys, and it's very refreshing that since the town, or should I say the people that live on the island, since these kids have been there for a while and they trust them and they've done all this work, it's refreshing for this movie and for this circumstance that those people trust them and there's not no, oh man, we're gonna die or what's gonna happen. And they find out the villains want these kids just like the characters are not stupid. That is one of the best things in this. They share information, things. When stuff hits the fan, people move quickly and they analyze. Like you feel that these kids have grown, and I think this might be the second or third My Hero movie, but you just feel that these are not stupid characters. That these are characters that understand they're in a life or death situation, that their morals and laurels are on the line. Do we let them take this kid, or do we try to protect him and risk them killing everybody else or killing us? And it's I think that's part of the reason why I was through the roof with this. So pacing gets a straight 5. Characters get a straight. I give them a 4.5 because of some of the villains, but they get a straight 5. And the fact of the matter is that there's a character that I don't know too much about him in the anime. He's a guy I'm just gonna call him Hawkman. Dude has eagle wings, and he seems like he's a spy. Seems like he's a very secretive character. Sometimes I think he's a bad guy, but I don't think he's a bad guy. I hope he's not a bad guy when I get to season 4. Um, Him finding out that where the villain group is going is also amazing. So like that's another thing. You know what? I'm gonna have to bump up the characters to 5 too, because all the characters in here, they're smart. Yeah, some people's motivations are kind of stupid, but it's forgiven because of how smart every other character is. Um, so we're moving on. It's obviously we're getting to the last dance, right? It's where we gotta protect these kids. We got people's powers. Midoriya comes up with the perfect plan. Separate the three. Everything goes right. Uh, got my girl Froppy fighting them. No, yeah, Froppy. Uh, Froppy, Glasses Speedster, Todoroki, Mr. Hard Arms. They're fighting Chimera Dude. That's when they find out he's a Chimera when they're fighting him. And one of the things I'm actually surprised about, spoiler, whatever, surprised that Todoroki couldn't fight him by himself. And I like that because now they're caught up in the anime, that kind of shows that that character grew as well. Uh, Let me see. I know we have my dude with Dark Shadow. He's one of my favorite characters. He's fighting the one hard hair chick with somebody else. I can't remember who was down there with him. I think Pinky. She's funny. I like her too. They were fighting her, and he's trying to control his thing. Watch season 3. So many callbacks. It's good when you get a movie that can do callbacks, but it doesn't feel like it's overbearing, especially for a person like myself who I'm not caught up with this, but watching it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty interesting. Then when I go back and watch the anime, I'm like, oh, that's a good continuation, even though this is a side story. Then if they wanted to, they can make this movie count, and I'll tell you how in a second. So obviously, everybody else is trying to keep this main villain from getting to this boy. He has an older sister. They're still both little kids, and her ability is just illusions, but his ability is their dad's ability, right? His healing ability. So they're trying to keep him back. Tape Guy, Mineta, and Uraka did amazing. I am a sucker for an anime or anime movie that makes me look at a cavalcade of characters and just be completely amazed by all of them. I think one of the few, I think what's one of the shows that started stuff like that was Naruto. Excuse me. One of the shows that started that was Naruto, and this this movie picks up the ball and just runs with that, and that's so amazing. That's it's kind of one of the few things I don't like about the older Dragon Ball movies is that your side characters get their ass whooped, and some of them have like some of these battles. Like probably the best battles with side characters was a Tree of Might, but after that it's just kind of like meh, and you feel like these characters are capable, which is why I just changed and made characters a 5, pacing a 5. Um, we're slowly approaching the story part. So as this guy is coming through, and Midori already figured out he can't use quirks in succession. Like you can only use one at a time, which makes total sense. Dude has like a wind shield. He can shoot lasers on top of the whole thunder thing. I don't think he can teleport. Excuse me, but excuse me again. But that's neither here nor there. And this final fight, this big boss fight, where it's he has this Leviathan thing where it's like he make you seen Tokyo Ghoul with little tails and stuff they can make. He can make multiple giant Hydra heads. That's partially how he was whooping Bakugo and Midoriya in their first encounter. So the second encounter, they're trying their best. They've learned, and you get to the point, and I love that it wasn't instant for Midoriya, as in like Bakugo said, "Screw it, I'm coming down there kicking this guy's butt," because the funny thing is, I'm just gonna skip that. Midoriya had to think, you know, if I can stay here and I might be able to protect this kid, but my best friend Bakugo, he just went down there. I got to go down there, and one of the greatest greatest psych outs was guys like, I thought I hit you. I thought y'all were dead. Well, boo hoo, middle finger to you, dude. So the battle. I'm not gonna go through frame for frame because I cannot remember frame for frame. But if you've seen at least the first 3 episodes of Boku no Hero, you know that All Might's power gets passed when a person either ingests some part of them. So, Midoriya had to eat All Might's hair. So he's trying to figure out how they're gonna win. How can they beat this villain? How can they stop him from getting his way? His immediate thing: give dude my powers, give Bakugo my powers. And once that happens, the art and scenes, that stuff just gets ramped up so much and so well. Like, you know, speed lines, and when characters are rushing in, you know how like the backgrounds are multiple, can be multiple colors, and you know, for stuff like My Hero, and sometimes with Yu-Gi-Oh, where like the eyes get stretched. This particular scene where they look like they're both getting Super Saiyan, that's kind of touched on a little bit season four. I already know what, like, I personally know what happens for that, and you know that scene of them working in tandem fighting this guy with multiple powers, because he took his limiters off when they were pushing him to the limit, and his body is rapidly deteriorating. He's using his storm powers to the max, and just the art is, I haven't seen a fight scene that well and so long since it mirrors Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta versus Broly. That it mirrors it so well. That's why it's hard for me to say Broly movie is above this just because of my bias. I would put those movies almost as equal, and I say almost just because plot. And I'll probably review the Broly movie probably sometime this week. Um, so the whole significance of him passing on the powers, even Bakugo was like, "Man, are you sure you want to do this?" Because at this point, Bakugo knows where his powers come from. Watch the anime, and he knows how big of a deal this is. So, of course, when they beat the villain, you know, by that time, the adults know, the adults are on their way, and this touching moment, and this did make me tear up, because the whole time when I'm thinking to myself, he's giving him the power, he's not gonna have it anymore, and the more you use it, the more you're burning it up out of you. It was really touching to see all the past people inside of him give him extra power to help beat this guy. And what was making me tear up was when All Might was, he's apologizing. He's like, "I'm sorry, you know, I was supposed to be the next you. I was supposed to be protecting people, but in order to save people, I had to give this gift to, you know, I had to give it to Bachchan, man. I had to give it to him just so we could win this." And All Might's crying like, "You know what? I'm not mad at you. That's what any hero would do." And Deus Ex Machina, apparently Bakugo passed out before the transfer was complete, so Midoriya still has his powers. I do not know if they will make this movie part of the canon, because towards the end, uh, Mr. Scratchy Neck, he comes up on the our main villain, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, who also voiced he voices the new Super Broly after that whole Vic Minoga thing, but he voices Super Broly in Dragon Ball Fighters. Uh, he comes up and he's like, "Know my new world order," and dude kills him. Like, I can't think of the last time I saw a anime movie where the villain is killed by another villain. Which just the setting for that too. I wish I could have watched this movie again just to see some of the symbolism and how some of the settings tie into how some of these things happen. Because the scene that happened was tons of flowers. It's probably the best place for him to die, right? And everything gets wrapped up. The students, they could, their summer classes are canceled, but they choose to stay on this island for the remainder of their time because these people stuck with them. These people believed in them, and the story's wrapped up pretty nicely. Uh, I will give the story. I'll give the story a. I give the story a 4.5. Just, and that's only because that ties into the character thing. Because the whole, I just want the world to be more or less in chaos. That kind of warmed me, and that ties a part of the story. But overall, I have to give this movie a 5 out of 5. A+ if you're giving it a grade. 5 out of 5, all the way. The art, uh, the voice acting. Even though I'm not a fan of dub voice acting, no one ever took me out of it. There were times where I was like, "Oh, why is Midori sound like he's whining?" But these guys do a wonderful job. They're great at what they're doing. Uh, art, amazing. Pacing, amazing. There was just there's the callbacks to things from even the seasons that I watched. There are callbacks to there. You can see their upgrades to fix some of the stuff that they had going on, and I'm pretty sure there was more callbacks up to the season 4, up to the point where this movie is supposed to be in between or whatever. Great movie, fantastic movie. Um, please watch it today. One of the things that I did find interesting, which I wonder if this is gonna come up, was when I'm gonna give me a second. I need to look up this villain's name because this is bothering me, y'all. Main villain of Heroes Rising. Boku no Hero. Who did Johnny Bosch play? Oh, the film takes place after the Endeavor arc in the manga. I have not. I have no clue what that means. Produced by Bones. Bones are amazing. Second. Really, this is the second film. I guess there was another film with Godzilla in it where he's a hero. I know the first movie had to deal with All Might. I need to check that one out. But this villain's name, Johnny Ambosh, where are you? 9? I think his name's 9. Yep, 9. 9. Uh, 9 is actually a really cool villain name. I find villains that have, I find characters that have numbers or just letters as names to be pretty cool. So 9. There's a point where 9 was trying to drain All for One. I'm sorry, was trying to drain One for All from Midoriya, and he couldn't because it was way too much. The powers were just way too much. And he said, "Wow, this kid has more than one quirk too. I wonder if he knows that." That is a thing that I find interesting. Sorry if I spoil that for you, but I find that very interesting. That apparently he has more than one quirk, which means that the One for All, yeah, means that the One for All passes on not just that super strength thing that Midori has going on, but it passes on probably other people that probably had quirks, which I find pretty fascinating myself. So, sorry that this was 34, 35 minutes. If you've seen the movie, what did you think of it? Uh, Again, for me, it's a 5 out of 5. If you could have your own quirk, what would your quirk be called? What's another movie, anime, or even regular movies that you would want me to review? I will try to get out a Broly review probably sometime this week. Uh, I'm actually enjoying doing a free. I like to say free ball, but what I really mean is I'm just speaking from the heart, going to the top of my head. No script on this one. I find that this gives my genuine first reaction for these things. I'll probably do a review of My Hero once I finish season up to season 4. Should just review the seasons, but that seems kind of contrite, doesn't it? Uh, Yeah. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Uh, Let me know what kind of quirk you would have. Let me know who's your favorite character in My Hero Academia. Do you even like My Hero Academia? You have to if you watch this whole video, right? Ah. So, you guys have a. And one thing I really want to say, no, this is a hard time. You know, some people are having a hard time staying indoors. Some people are having a hard time dealing with the news and things that are going on. Everything will be okay. We will work through this. Just stay safe. Keep others safe. Be blessed. Be good. Till next time, it's your boy Shane.